Welcome to Boho Punks. Today we're going to be making Fizzarolli from Helluva Boss, which is part of a collab dedicated to Helluva Boss and Has Been Hotel. Today we're going to be using a creator monster body, but first we have to trim down this neck in order for it to fit a Nova Star head. You can see the difference between the original and the shaved down neck. Now we're going to have to shave down the bust because Fizzarolli, we won't be needing them. I'm using Nail Builder to fill in any holes and smooth out any grooves that were created by the tool. Now we can paint the whole entire body white, applying thin layers. To simulate his robotic legs, boots, I'm not entirely sure. It almost gives a thigh-high boot look, so we're going to paint it black. Now it's time to add all of his body markings. I'm using this armature to keep his arms very thin and flexible, like his robotic extensions appear in the show. And now we're just going to... I'm testing to see how the pieces would scrape, and it's a very tight space, so it's unavoidable. I tried to cover it, it didn't really work. I placed some clay inside of the eye sockets in order to simulate an eyeball. This was much easier than using the pre-existing eyes, for me anyway. So we're just going to make sure that's smooth and still keeping the benefit of having a built-in eyelid. And really making sure it pats down because it's going to shrink. Now that it's dry, I wanted to start doing his horns. He has broken horns underneath his hat from a trauma that, as far as I know, hasn't been revealed in the show yet. But I really wanted to add them just in case. For one, it would give structural value to the hat, and two, for authentic look. I'm also going to use some of the clay to fill in any of the holes from the rooted hair so we can have a smoother look. Fizz doesn't have any hair. I sculpted and 3D printed his boots with my 3D printer. I'm using neon paint as a base so that I can have that glow under black light. And filling in the back where creator monsters usually have wings. We won't need that hole, but we will keep the hole for the tail and make it bigger for later. Get in there! Now let's get to the actual face painting. His eyebrows are very, very pencil thin, but expressive, but I'm going to use the eyelid as a template. One, to make sure that it's evenly curved lines. I'm using watercolor pencils in order to draw out his facial features. First, just going over with a light gray, because black is very hard to get off of completely. And then starting what is the opening of his mouth. There's been a debate on if it's a beak or not. I think it's just a mouth with a interesting shaping. Using his eyes to line up where the rosy cheek circle would be. Now using acrylics in order to paint in the details now that I have the sketch portion done. Being very careful to do the line work because it's not very forgiving. Painting in all the black. If you like my videos so far, please consider subscribing, give a thumbs up, and click the bell for notifications. I dyed the lower leg so I wouldn't have to worry about the paint scratching off. I'm taking a hot needle and pressing it through the very tip of the structural joint. Be very careful if you ever try this method. Now with that dyed, I'm going to join it with the 3D sculpt that I painted off camera. I'm going to secure this with a multitude of different things. The main one being black, specifically black hot glue. I've noticed that the black one, at least for the whatever brand I have, is harder to dislodge than the clear one that's usually used. And I figured the color would help just a smidge as well. Just going around to make sure that I get every nook and cranny. A quick test to make sure it doesn't go anywhere. Now to cover the joints. You don't end up seeing these. My initial idea was to make an outfit that was removable, but with his puff sleeves, I'm not sure if that'll be possible, but I'm gonna keep on tinkering with the idea of it being a removable outfit so that you can see all the wonderful body paint that I did. I'm making the little balls that go at the bottom of his jester's collar and hat. They're just beads that I took a jewelry finding and made a loop using some jewelry tools to pinch, snip, and loop. Using a tailor's pencil, I am drawing a circle using any old thing laying around. Mine just happens to be a pan pastel lid. And now we're going to sketch out his gesture collar, the bottom portion of it anyway, so that we can attach our beads to it. Being that I adjusted the neck, I had to tailor this neck hole as I went along. Now to attach the beads to the gestures collar, at the very bottom, using some thread and needle, making sure that the loop is sewn in between the fabric. This will help with weighing it down and also look aesthetically correct. I made a pattern using paper towel in order to scan it into my tablet so that I could make a template for his outfit. I used print-on fabric in order to achieve his patterns on his clothes. So I'm sewing all of them together and then securing the ends with Fabri-Tac glue in order to fold them in on themselves so that when you turn them inside out, there's not a crease. Using Fabri-Tac glue again, I'm going to make sure that the edges of these pants don't fray after they're cut by kind of making a sealant backing. And his pants are done. I left plenty of room for them to be removable, but we'll see. I think they came out great. Now, before we finish all of his outfit, we want to make sure that the tail is going to fit under the outfit. So I'm securing. With Verosika, I wish I had made a magnetic tail just for making it easier for her to go to her new owner and to be stored properly. So this time around, we're making a magnetic tail instead of a stationary tail. I did end up trimming quite a bit of warbler off of this tail, only because I made it too heavy for the magnet. It's a strong magnet, but not enough for that much warbler plus a metal wire in the middle. So I made plenty of adjustments, repositioned it. Now that the top of the outfit is done, I'm going to go ahead and start working on the gesture collar. I didn't want to make a complete dye pot for this one little item, so we're going to use paint that will help us in the long run. Now it's time to paint the tail. I'm using acrylic paint to put the pink and off black stripes. Now to finish the ends of the sleeves with ribbon, Fabri-Tac glue, and needle and thread. The hat gave me a little trouble, so I had to do a mock-up after doing a paper mock-up. I did a fabric mock-up, and I also did research on how other cosplayers made this hat. And there was many different methods, and none that I could say honestly could apply to this level of scale. So I winged it, and I'm happy how it came out. Two Helluva Boss characters down. What should I do next? And with adding his little heart, he's done. All the artists did a really amazing job. Two Helluva Boss characters down. What should I do next? All the artists did a really amazing job. You guys should definitely check the playlist. Make sure to check out my website, my Etsy shop, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. Thank you. Bye.